Hey there, thanks for joining me today. This is Laura Lynn with KeepInking.com. I'm an independent demonstrator for Stampin' Up! In San Antonio, Texas. And today I wanted to share a sweet card using the Daisy Lane stamp set and coordinating punches. Right now you can purchase the Daisy Lane stamp set with the medium daisy punch at a 10% discount as a bundle. But we also have the Daisy Punch, which coordinates with the stamp in this set as well. Anyone who orders the bundle of the stamp set and medium daisy punch through my online store through July 22nd, 2019, and using this host code will receive a free pack of basic pearls from me once I see your order. Now, those pearls do come from me and not from Stampin' Up!, so they won't be coming with your bundle when you order it. It'll be coming in the mail from me once I see your order. If you do add the other punch to your bundle, then your order would qualify for the $5 coupon that Stampin' Up! Will give you that you can then redeem in August. You most certainly do not need to purchase these particular products in order to earn that coupon. Any $50 order placed during July will receive that coupon code to be used in August. So if you have any questions about any of that, please just let me know and I'll be happy to clarify anything for you. Okay, so let's go ahead and make this card. I'm going to put these things a little bit out of the way. I'm going to begin with a piece of our Balmy Blue cardstock. This is a half of a sheet, so it's 8.5 by 5.5, and we're going to fold it in half. And then I'm going to burnish it with my bone folder so the card will lay nice and flat. Then I'm going to take, if I can find it, here it is. I'm going to stamp Happy Birthday, and this stamp is from the Perennial Birthday stamp set. I use this particular Happy Birthday sentiment on a lot of my birthday cards. I make a lot of birthday cards. Every single person I know has a birthday, so I send out a lot of birthday cards. And I'm going to stamp this in Night of Navy on the Balmy Blue card base. So I'm going to ink that up, and we'll center that on the bottom of the card. Perfect. Close up that ink pad before I have a catastrophe, and I'll put that aside for the moment. Then I have a piece of our Whisper White cardstock. This is 5.5 inches by 2.25 inches. And then what I did with that is I took the edgelet from the Be Mine stitched dies, and I cut along both of the long edges of that piece of Whisper White cardstock to create a nice decorative element for my card. And then I have a piece of our Pear Pizzazz cardstock. This is 1.75 inches by 5.5 inches. And I am going to stamp the fern image from the Daisy Lane stamp set in Old Olive. At first I tried stamping this with Pear Pizzazz, and it didn't show up very much, so I wanted to go ahead and do a darker color, so I chose the Old Olive. So we'll ink that up, and we're going to just stamp it randomly on this strip of paper. I'm rotating my fern image for a little bit of interest. And then to fill in, I'm going to go ahead and stamp off and do second generation stamping, just to fill in all of the gaps with a little bit of color. It's subtle, but it's a nice effect. So I'll close that up. So now I'm going to glue this piece of Pear Pizzazz to my Whisper White piece with Tombow Mono multi-purpose glue. This gives me a little bit of wiggle room so I can get it exactly where I want it on my white piece of cardstock, so I can shift it around, get it nice and centered. That'll adhere nicely. Now I'll glue both of these pieces to my card base. Pull that in, and let's use the grid paper so we can get this lined up really well. Oops. There we go, so that's all nice and straight. And we'll stick that aside for it to dry. Okay, so now I'm going to pull in a couple of pieces of scrap Whisper White cardstock, and I'm going to stamp my daisy images. Now I'm going to be punching these out, so what I did is I made note of how the petals are on the punches, and I mounted them on my blocks accordingly. So now when I stamp these in Balmy Blue on my scrap pieces of Whisper White, they will be easier to punch out. And you want to come kind of close to the edge of the paper so that's easy to punch. So I'm going to stamp 1, 2, and 3 of the large daisies. And then I need 3 of the small daisies as well. Same thing, because this punch is oriented the same way. So I'm going to stamp 1 there. And then let's see if I can get 2 on this paper. 1 there. And 1 there. Okay, I think those will work out well. So I have those 3 of each size flower. Before I punch them out, I want to add a little bit of coloring to the center of one of the little daisies. So I'm going to use my Stampin' Blends in the Soft Suede color. You'll notice that I labeled mine with my label maker. My aging eyes just cannot see these little words on here from across the table, so these larger labels are easier to see from far away. So I'm going to take the dark soft suede, the bullet tip, and I'm going to color in like a little crescent on the center of one of these little daisies. And then I'll take the lighter and blend it out. And that just kind of gives a little bit of dimension to that center. Okay, now we're ready to punch these out. So I'm going to turn the punch upside down, and I'm going to line up my flowers and punch. I'm going to do that for all of the flowers, the large and the small. Just take your time to line up your image. So I have my 3 small ones, and now I'm going to need to punch out the big ones. Same process. Slide it in, upside down, line it up. That looks good. Again, just take your time to line it up. And 1 more. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I want to give a little bit of dimension to my flower before I stick it onto my card. So I'm going to take one of the larger flowers, and I'm going to hold on to the center, and this is very important. These petals have a very narrow attachment to the center. So you want to hold on to the center and just curl the petals slightly downward. And we're going to do that all the way around. I'm not pulling very hard, kind of like curling ribbon, but just kind of gently pulling along the edge of the flower, and so now that cups down. Now the other 2 of the large, I'm going to do the opposite way, but again, I'm going to hold on and just gently pull on each petal. They do rip off really easily if you pull too hard, so just be gentle. And I'll do this one as well. Okay, and then I'm going to do the same thing for the little ones, but all of these I'm going to curl up. And again, just be gentle. Okay, last one, the one that has the center. This will be my top flower because I colored in the center on this one, and the others are going to layer together to create a really pretty dimensional flower to put on our card. So now we're ready to assemble the flower pieces together. So let's go ahead and start with the bottom one. The one that curls down will be the bottom flower. So I'm going to add a little bit of glue on the back of this flower. You don't need much. And now I'm not going to center it exactly because I have 2 layers, so I'm going to just offset it just a little bit. So you see there's that gap there. And again, the glue gives me a little bit of wiggle room to get it where I want it. So that's good. Now we'll add another little bit of glue on this next layer. And now we can go in between those. And you can see if you flatten them, you can see how they all kind of nestle in with each other. Okay, so I'm done with that particular part. Let's move on to the little ones. Again, I'll put a little bit of glue on the back side of this one and offset it just slightly, not exactly in the middle. See, there's a little gap there. So then we're going to put the top one that has the colored center, and we'll put this one right there in the middle. So it's a nice full flower. And now we can add the small layers to the big layers. And we'll stick that in the center there like that. Oops. And there you go. Isn't that a really pretty dimensional flower? And you can fluff it up as much or as little as you want. You've already curled these petals, so they'll fluff up a little bit however you would like to. I think that looks pretty good. Isn't that pretty? Really dimensional. Speaking of dimensionals, we're going to add a dimensional to the back of this flower to add it to our card. So we'll peel off the backing, bring back our card, and we'll put that in the middle of our card. Isn't that sweet? One last finishing touch is we're going to add some pearls. Remember I mentioned that anyone ordering the bundle before July 22nd using this host code will receive a free pack of basic pearls from me. And I'm going to use my Take Your Pick tool and add a pearl. Let's see, we'll add one down here. 1, 2, and we'll add some up here. 3, 4, and 5. I think those pearls just add a really nice touch to this sweet, sweet card with the daisy. Isn't that cute? I just love it. But we need to go ahead and stamp the inside. I almost forgot. So let's go ahead, and I have a piece of Whisper White cardstock that is 4 by 5 1/4. And I'm going to again pull in from the Perennial Birthday a couple of the images that say, "Today blooms for you, here's to celebrating you." And I'll stamp that again in the Night of Navy ink. So I'll ink that up. And I'll stamp that there in the center. Okay. Close this particular pad up. And then let's bring in that Balmy Blue, and we'll stamp the large daisy right on top of that sentiment. And because it's the lighter color, you can still read the sentiment just fine. Isn't that pretty? Oops, I got a little bit of glue on my paper. Isn't that nice? So go ahead and close close that up and add this to the inside of our card. And that finishes off our birthday card. Isn't that sweet? Happy birthday. The Today Blooms just for you. Here's to celebrating you. Isn't that a sweet card? So anyway, thanks again so much for joining me. I hope you found this video helpful and like my card. Again, if you use this host code by July 22nd, 2019 and order the bundle that includes the, let me find it, the Daisy Lane stamp set and the medium Daisy Punch, you will receive a free package of our basic pearls in the mail from me once I see your order. So thanks again so much for joining me, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.